had taken acid for the first time 3 weeks before I met Ram Dass. I was at a hippie forum in New Hampshire. It's a much longer story. We won't go into it. But after dinner one night, somebody had some visitor that we had that night gave me put a little orange pill on everybody's plate and said dessert. You know, a little Osley sunshine. So I took it and went into the experience of oneness. I went right into that incredible experience. You know, you could have aimed a gun at me and shot me, and the gun and the bullet and the air it was going through, and it would all have been the same thing. It was all one. And as I came down from that trip, somebody handed me the Tibetan Book of the Dead. And I was reading it the next few days going, wow, this is just what I experienced. These guys knew what they were talking about.
Right, not those on the maps.
Oh, the maps. I mean, there it was, you know, the Bardos. I mean, it was like, wow.
Because you were taking a substance that made you have, it forced a religious experience.
It did. And then, you know, 3 weeks later, I was at a party in Vermont with my cousin who taught at Goddard up in Vermont, and there was some guy in the corner playing the guitar, so I naturally gravitated to the guy with the guitar.
Yeah. And it all went through.
And he said, hey, you want to get me a seat? And 3 weeks before, I would have said, no, they don't exist. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
But because of that experience, I said, sure, why not?
Yeah.
And so we drive up the driveway to Ram Dass's father's farm. And Ram Dass is standing outside the house, and he's wearing his white dress and his bare feet and his beard and doing his moa.
Let's go.
Ordinary blue eyes of his, you know, just beaming. And he said to both of us, you know, go around in the woods, talk to the people who are here. We'll all get together tonight in the barn. And there were maybe a dozen people there at the time, and each one was like, where do I know you? Where did you go to school? Where did you go to camp? Why do I know you?
And you didn't know.
Well, we're talking about, you know, the people who became, you know, Krishna Das and Rameshwar Das and Radha and Mohan, and I mean, the people I had found my tribe.
But you hadn't met them yet.
I hadn't. I mean, I was meeting them there. They were already living in the woods. Okay. And it was just like, I don't understand. I don't know who these crazy people are. They're walking around going, namaste. They're talking strange languages. I know nothing.
Yeah.
But I knew I belonged there. It was just this instantaneous feeling that I belonged there. I moved in the next day. You know.
That's what you found on your spiritual lineage.
Right, that's what I'm talking about.
You found your family.
You found your family, and it felt right, even though they were talking strange things, and they were out there in the woods fasting and meditating, and I was sitting in the barn typing for Ram Dass. You know, it was, well, after 3 days of being there, he said one morning, can anybody here type? I raised my hand. And at that time, he had already done his tour, you know, of the state. So he was getting snail mail, obviously. No cell phones, no computers. And he would go onto a tape recorder and answer all the mail. And then I would sit and type it all up for him.
Wow.
So I became his secretary. Right. Later, when I got to India, you know, at one point Maharaji looked at me and he said, you used to be Ram Dass's secretary. Now you're mine.
He stole you.
And in English, he used to call me all the time. He was private secretary. So that was just like Krishna Das was driver or general. I mean, you know, Ram Dass was commander-in-chief. I was private secretary. A little bit. Yeah, but
you got to go to India as well.
Right, because whatever Ram Dass had, we wanted it from the source. It was like, look what happened, because I had seen him as Richard Alpert. I know back in the days of Fillmore, you know, and him and Timothy were doing, you know, An Evening with God. You Mary was fascinating, It was like, turned on TV, got out, playing the guitar. Ramdas got up. At that point, he was Richard Alpert. He was sort of boring and pedantic. And so meeting Ramdas after seeing Richard Alpert was mind-blowing.
Yeah.
And so whatever happened to him, I want that.
Yeah. Well, I've never heard that put that way.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a boring fella.
He was a professor,
Turned academic.
Yeah.
He talked about that too. He said that the psychedelics brought something out in him. That he used to be somebody that would start talking and people would walk away. But he felt at a party that he was like ultimately jump out of the plane and roll coaster.
Yeah.
And then he became film that everyone was like, 1,000 people are here to listen to you.
Right.
And so you're just around us. Obviously not just the psychedelics, that's what he did to him, like you.
Right. Yeah, right. I mean, he went into researching what is this LSD? What is this consciousness? What is, he wanted answers.
Right.
And he found Maharaji.
Yeah. And then what happened to you? So you got a job.
So I got a job. Anyway, I came back from that summer, and I went to visit a college friend of mine, and he was in Canada. And it all stood on my side. The plotter, So nothing happened with her, but I was flying off into, extraordinary initiation experiences and all sorts of things.
Right.
I got it. And the next day I was still tripping, but much lower planes. And I was home, and I was getting scared. I was going into these lower astral planes where all these hands were reaching up for help. I mean, it was starting to get dark and scary. And Ramdas was already at Lama Foundation, so there was no getting in touch with him. I mean, they didn't even have a phone. I hadn't yet met Hilda Charlton, who became my first real teacher. And so I had nobody to call and say, what do I do? So I sat in front of this little black and white picture of Maharaji that Ramdas had given me, clutching my New Hampshire mala, and reciting a mantra, which was, I'm scared, you've got to help me. I'm scared, you've got to help me. And you could see the picture just dissolve into the light. And I could see Maharaji in there, and it was just, an instant. But it was enough for me to know that he's there, and whatever I had to go through, I could go through. So needless to say, I later got a much larger picture of Maharaji, and I lived my life in front of that picture, and talked to it all the time. Sometimes I would see it, sometimes I wouldn't. But I didn't tell him like this. Don't tell people to talk to pictures. You didn't back then. Now I tell everybody.
Yeah.
But
I can't stop telling you.
Now I can't stop telling. So I finally get to India, and I'm finally in front of Maharaji at the first darshan I happened. And he leans over and he looks at me and he goes, you used to talk to my picture all the time. He said, you asked many questions. So it's that moment of, yes, he's always been with me. He's been, and obviously beyond time and space, and it's that freedom. People now who come up to me and say, well, I look at Maharaji's picture, I talk to him. They said, that's great, that's how I contacted him. You can do that too. And it doesn't matter that he doesn't have a body. He didn't need one in to come take care of me when I was, scared, and you gotta help me.
So now you're there and you're hanging out.
And then I'm there. But I know at this point, right away, that he literally knows everything. Clearly. Right?
It's very wild. I've never met until I met y'all.
Y'all, yeah.
Now I know about the people that have this experience and that have this experience. Yeah. I'm interested in a lot of elements of it, obviously. One thing that was actually very around us was the guy that brought you to not just the guru, but the regular people, I guess. I don't know how to put it.
Well, obviously, when we met Ramdas, and transmitting Maharaji's, essence, and that's what told us all to Ramdas was It smelled like chocolate chips, and then we met the chocolate bar. It's like, but so he really was our teacher. I mean, he was teaching us meditation. He was teaching us, mantra. He was teaching us, the one chant he knew to do wrong thing. All of that, and it was wonderful. And he totally loved me, and still do, obviously. But when we got to India, when we were with Maharaji, it was like, we don't want to hang out with my boss. We want to do it with Maharaji. And so he had to go through the shift of being, once everybody's teacher, now he's a guru god, which just means he's one of us.
Just another guy.
A little bit different than just another guy, but still.
Right.
Our
Much
connection
more just another guy than he used to be.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. I have a pretty powerful ego, and I think that would be hard for me.
And I think it was hard for him.
Yeah. And then, so, when you saw him come with that at the angular story, I thought it was very interesting.
Well, there are a number of things going on that all coalesce into that particular story. One of the things
to this was really so interesting. So many system of holy there stories. In my opinion, there's a few aspects, rules. And then we can go around and kind of gauge who's holy. This guy doesn't say mother, this guy doesn't sleep around, this guy doesn't do drugs, this guy doesn't do anything. He doesn't get anything at all.
Right.
He's kind of very pious, to say good. Piety, yes. And then when I hear the story, everybody loves talking about Jesus and the tax collectors in the temple, like knocking over the table and stuff. But I've never heard so many stories of somebody that had a disregard, a great cosmic disregard the ceremony or taking anything seriously, or sitting around the drama of life. Meaning, I announce all of that. I don't use my time. I did everything in the game. Maharaji says, hey, the black type. Perfect like not in the no one was holding hold. Yeah, it was rather than this whole thing. Always say, he doesn't want anything, and he'll help clean up after the party.
Right.
Here's a guy who's young, what was it?
Oh my God, well, I think I associate holiness with what I experienced as being the presence of love. To me, that is the holiness. Is to be the state. Unconditional love, which means he's not judging you for anything. He's not.
Most people think a whole person. That's what we in America.
Well, that's the guy sitting up in heaven with the
lifeguard guy.
The lifeguard guy going.
I spend most of my life out navigating. I know thousands and thousands of people that are like really torn up. Yeah, not because they couldn't connect whatever it was that they just had at the river.
Right.
I was sad that I had masturbated. I was sad that I had and then I was out at the club, so the velvet rope was picked up, and shoot out, and then it was closed, and then I wouldn't be letting it go until I repented and do something. I had to ask for forgiveness. But not judging.
I mean, here's a story. I mean, the first weekend with Maharaji, and it's intense. I mean, you gotta realize, he used to feed us mounds of potatoes and porridge, which were deep-fried bread. And you could eat like 17 of these porridge and not feel a thing. Just to keep them in your body, in front of him. Anyway, literally, even though you couldn't even feel it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's that.
Senses and high is something that I struggle with. Right. Even when we're just and I started crying or something, I'm like, you're really doing it. The victory might be just let it go. And love it, just let it go, just let it go. And what my mantra has been, and then what? Okay,
So anyway, I decided to take a day off and not go to the kitchen that day. And I stayed back at the hotel and I washed my hair, which was a 2-bucket procedure. You know, 1 bucket of hot water, 1 bucket of cold water. No shower, just a cup in the bucket, you know. And then I went down to the lake and got some Indian sweets and I smoked a chillum and I went out on the boat. I just had, staying by myself, nothing else going on. The next day, I walk into the ashram with Maharaji on the top, and as he sees me walking, he goes, "You like the scenery in Nainital?" And I go, "Yes, Maharaji." Does you like Indian sweets? Yes, Maharaji. Does you like the boat ride? Yes, Maharaji. And he lifts up his hand as if he's smoking a chiller. And he goes, "Yes, Maharaji."
Okay, so
no judgment. But he showed me once again. I mean, I took a day off from what?
yeah,
It was all
I just got a very good comment.
Yeah.
There's this cartoon that I saw and I loved so much. It showed Earth in space, and it showed really where we was, and so was zooming out as far as we can go. And then the last one that has a giant Jesus, and he has his hands around the whole thing, and he's saying, "Don't masturbate." I love it too, right? Isn't that good? And I think what's happened, a big passion of mine is the greatest thing. I forget who said it, but it might have been Dante. Like with the love that hung the stars, I forget who said it. So here's the energy. We can all agree, I think, on the idea of a pulse and a source to all of it. We can investigate it in science, we can go inside and investigate it in spirituality. Either way, we're dissecting this grand...
We call it the matrix of love.
Matrix, yes.
Yes.
But how did that... objectively, I'll speak for myself, they're always around us. Vivid and real and exciting thing get reduced to don't masturbate.
There's a wonderful story in the book by the guy He was 19 when he was with Maharaji, and his girlfriend was 18. Okay, so they're teenagers, right? Horny teenagers, right? But they're being good. They're like not having sex for 4 months in front of Maharaji, right?
Well, thank you. Thanks. Housekeeper.
And something happens and he gets really angry. And he decides, okay, we're out of here, Maharaji's a phony. Okay, type of thing. Basically, he's just horny and frustrated.
Yeah.
Okay. And after 4 months of not having sex, everybody's over at the ashram and they're all singing. He's by himself in the Dharmasala, in the sleeping place, and he goes into the shower and he relieves himself.
Yeah.
Right? And then he's back in his room and he's a cartoonist and he's drawing all these fun comics, like the darkest, nastiest things he can. And he suddenly sees Maharaji walking towards his room. I mean, everybody else is singing over on the other side of the room. And here's Maharaji coming with somebody else, Dada holding him up. And they're coming towards him, and they go to the room right next to where he is. And he goes, oh my God, I mean, I can't wait to see this stuff,
Yeah.
And then he thinks, oh, this is sort of my chance to have a private moment with Maharaji.
Yeah.
And he goes into the room, and he's before Maharaji, and he said, he just gave him all his anger. He imagined himself pleasuring himself in the shower. He imagined, everything he was angry about, all of the guilt, the frustration, all the everything. And he said, and when he was done doing that, Maharaji stood up and left. And it was like he came just to let these do this.
Yeah.
And it was his last argument with Maharaji. I mean, no judgment. None whatsoever. It's like, here, tell me, it's okay.
Right.
It's okay.
This is a big hang-up of me, obviously, growing up. With puritanical sex, specifically masturbating, like secret thing.
Yeah, right.
When I was 15 or whatever, that was it's all good.
Right. I was going to say, oh, 15.
Yeah. It was this idea of I was just talking to my friend Rob Bell, and he's a spiritual guy, leader in his own way, and on his own way, but not in our way, in Jesus' way. But we were talking, I was telling him how it's very profound to me that some of the best meditations I've ever had were moments after something like that. Meaning, I had my shower release,
Right.
and then I looked out and was surprised to see some sort of divine peace coming my way. I don't think it's, in my case, I think there might be something physiological going on, like more relaxed or whatever, but it's counterintuitive to the way I was raised to think that in the wake of a sin, here's God, or here's the divine, or here's peace.
Because what's sin?
Well, that's what I'd like to ask. I mean,
Sin is a dharmic action. It's hurting somebody, whether it's somebody else or yourself.
Yeah. Right.
You know, and if you're not hurting anybody, you're not sinning.
Right.
Charlie! Hey, Charlie! Hush!
My favorite word is transactional. It's the idea of something that's truly different from what it is.
Oh, there's Maharaji in the word.
Transactional?
Yeah, right. Absolutely.
It's really cute, and it doesn't mean
Oh, no.
I'm not worrying about it. I feel like the people, my listeners, or the viewers out there who listen to my show, will skip these if they're just not into it. But I'm a little bit aware that some of them aren't listening and being like, well, that sounds unbelievable.
Well, you know, he talked about Jesus all the time, Maharaji. He did. And every time he did, I mean, he would cry. It was like he had such love for this being of love. And, you know, when, I don't know if it was Ramdas or Raghu, one of them asked Maharaji the question of, well, how did, you know, he said meditate like Christ. And so they said, well, how did Christ meditate? And he was lost in love. Even hanging on the cross, he was lost in love. So here's some instruction for how to meditate. Be lost in love like Jesus. Yeah, right?
Yeah, be like,
sure.
Anybody listening though knows that I get hung up in like Katie and I talking about miracles and magic is important thing. Yeah. When we start talking about Christ, you know, when you bring Jesus back into my life, I bring a lot of values to that. She's going, well, the Gospels were written 150 years after he died, and nobody else seemed to write about him except these kind of people. I found, and I'm covering up this topic again and again because I want to go detail, but I found a lot of freedom in looking at it metaphorically and biblically. And then you guys come along
and say it's not from the
That's exactly right. It's even if here now, it's just maybe I choose to. It's wrong. It's wrong that side. It's happened. The rational mind, the Western mind, I want things recorded, I wanted them Instagrammed, I wanted them tweeted and corroborated. Now I have to go, well, maybe there was a guy who told you that really did this, or how do you look at it? Is it an energy? Is it important whether or not the Gospels are historically accurate or not?
No, just like people ask me about Maharaji's life. I said, I don't know anything about his life. I don't know when he did his son, I don't know where he lived, I don't know anything. It didn't matter. That totally missing the point. The gospel probably is beautiful poetry. And I love the parts that I can relate to, you know, in that level. Whether it's historically accurate, I don't care.
And again, this is something that's been ruined. I'm going to use the word ruined.
Yeah.
It's an all or nothing thing.
Right.
You couldn't offend me when I was a Christian believer more than making choosing. And like the idea of, I'll take what's convenient for me, but now I am I'll take well, that's not for me.
That's the way I feel. I mean, it's what feels right to you. I mean, for example, I met any number of holy men before I met Maharaji. I mean, once I got into this is cool stuff. You know, I met Swami Muktananda had come to America. I spent a lot of time with him. I meditated alone with him in the room. I mean, you know, this was not fly-by-night stuff. This was like, okay, real deal. I went to India, I saw Sai Baba. I mean, I saw people that were the Avatar and the Paramahans, and, you know, hundreds of thousands of devotees. And I kept thinking, well, what's wrong with me? I can't open my heart to the Avatar. I can't open my heart to the final months. And I spent time with it. I spent 3.5 months in the southeast side of it. And it was always like, oh, something's wrong with me. I can't open my heart. When I got to Maharaji, it was like instantaneous. It's called the surrender that is no surrender. It's that you're home. And that's the word that you'll hear over and over again in all those stories.
And then we spoke with the jealousy of the people that didn't do it. And then I'll admit to even I went to the photo of Maharaji and I dabble, because I'm a big kind of person, I'll dabble in things like that. And I feel it, but I don't have this thing happen to you. So we're all kind of looking for our thing. Other people are looking potentially for their thing. What do you have to say to that?
Basically, I wrote the book, as I say, stemmed from that one moment of standing with Ram Dass on the balcony of the Evelyn Hotel overlooking the lake, watching the clouds roll by, and we would come back to being with Maharaji, and we're just standing there in silence. And he turned around and looked at me and he said, "We've seen Maharaji preparing this." And that's what this was to me. It was like, these are stories not to make you feel jealous, to make you feel, oh shit, I missed the boat, but really to say, this was a bunch of skeptical Westerners, just like everybody with me, okay? I'm not going to touch anybody's feet. I'm not going to, what is this kind of stuff? Totally inapplicable to who we are and our thinking minds and our Western training, God, I basically lost myself somewhere. We were skeptical. We didn't come from an Indian lineage, from a family of
Inherently bothered people.
Right, we haven't had the same rules for thousands of years in my family. It just didn't exist. I thought being Jewish meant, trying to make us lots on the And so the fact that 70 Westerners who have very interesting minds have this experience and can all bear witness to it.
It's not nothing.
It's not nothing.
Again, I'm trying to think about what people might be thinking. You'll be the fourth of four.
Okay.
The whole Maharaji thing is taken over. Which is a lot.
That's a lot.
People might be thinking, how do we know that this isn't Chinatown? This isn't correct. This isn't a religion, or this isn't a scale. Our large cases of it, and rightfully so.
There have been, gurus I wouldn't want to touch with a 10-foot pole.
You read that story, that's what that article about.
I got my face, right, yeah.
I got my face about the guy who had all those things.
That one too, yeah, right.
So these guys did a fucking survive.
Right.
But it makes sense.
But see, the way I try to describe it is that if you were to come up to somebody and put your hand, with most people you would run into hindrances and obstacles, you would run into ego, you would run into all sorts of things. What I the feeling was you would go all the way through. Because there was nothing there. As Ram Dass would call it, there's no one home.
Yeah, a mountain of emptiness.
A mountain of emptiness. There's nobody there. Perfect mirror. So it's not like, these other flow gurus are holding on to something. And you can feel it in their presence. You don't feel the safety. And with Maharaji, was so safe. He wasn't going to hurt you in any way. You'd still go through all sorts of stuff. But
it's funny is I feel that way. My closest thing to coming home spiritually was Radha, and having met him and getting my.
And that's that touch of Maharaji.
Right. That's what you say.
Yeah.
I only know Ram Dass. I'm not saying I don't know Maharaji, but I don't know Maharaji.
Right.
But I can sit and talk about a mirror. We we just have the ceremony, and he gives us, what's it called?
A mala.
A mala. It's a little, it's like a rosary. And we came up, and Valerie and I went up together, and he gives it to us, and I was just in the line, very rude, and I don't say this for points or to prove that I really got it. I would tell you if I was. But I'm watching people, and I'm just crying, watching how he gave everyone a moment. Like, not in a celebrity way.
No.
He wasn't William Shatner at Comic-Con signing headshots.
Yeah.
Everyone was getting a real mirror. The word mirror is what it was. So he was with Val first. And it was this whole thing that they were having that was very moving to me. And then I was like, I want to smile at him. You know, I don't want to take it too seriously. He knows I'm a comedian and all this stuff. And we looked at each other and we all laughed. But it was a mirror. So here I am smiling really good. And he smiled and talked about those eyes.
Yeah.
And we're smiling. And I touched his feet. I've never done that with anybody.
Right.
And I'm crying and I'm looking at him and we just had that thing. When it was over, I didn't feel like someone cut the water off. Like, oh, great, I got to sit in the hot tub for 2 seconds.
All right.
So, like a beautiful thing that I'm still feeling. That's the closest I can get.
That's pretty good.
Oh, you know what I want to hear. Please just tell me that what I had is
What you had was good.
Hey, what's up, man? Oh, not a lot. Oh yeah, I see it right here. It's sitting here on the porch. Right. Well, you know this time of year is going to be kind of crazy too. Right. Well, what time are you supposed to be home? Because I don't think you'll fit between the ones. It's in kind of a big box. I mean, I can leave it outside. I don't mind that. I just would like to have it to. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, I may do that. Just sit it on the couch or something. No problem. Be safe out there.
But I have a little taste of that. This is something when I listen to. I just was like, oh shit.
Well, it's very funny because my family was always so upset.
I'm sure.
You know, I told you that when I was that my mother sent me a letter and told me where to stay. Really low.
I think it's your parents thinking you're crazy, and I think it's my parents. You know, I don't really tell them about this. It's not really something I've tried, but then I stopped trying. And that's the sword. That's a beautiful division.
I think of that as the sword of truth.
Yeah.
You know, because in the Buddhists, have their knife that that's
the two-sided.
Right. You know, and it's a long.
Just tell me about it. Yeah.
Right. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
As that sword.
It's cutting through nonsense, but double-sided, so it cuts through really well.
Right.
Yeah.
And whatever needs to be. It's sort of like the goddess Durga that we've seen this whole week.
I don't even know what that is. Which one is it?
The middle picture, she's riding the lion, right? And this is goddess Durga, who's very beautiful.
Oh, Ma Durga.
Ma Durga.
That's what you're saying too?
Yes.
See, I don't even know what any of them are.
And you're singing to her, and she's beautiful, and you're falling in love with Durga, and you're drawing closer and closer to the mother. And then you look up and realize she's got 10 arms, and each one is holding a different weapon.
Yeah, there's your sword. She's only got one sword. You've got a 10 sword. But that's what it is, right? I think a lot about pain and loss and suffering, and how essentially, again, going back to the Christian model, I remember I had a conversation with someone on a podcast that never got released because I think it wasn't good. But I was asking, I was like, is it a perfect world where everything is in Jesus? He was like, yes, of course. And I'm like, I don't think it is. I think that's a dystopia where everything, like that's, even if we could go into some sort of bliss state, if that became the normal state, we would need some sort of, we would start to miss the color of the sword or something. I don't know.
I don't think it's a question we're going to have to worry about.
Because you think maybe, is there value to having no conflict? No.
I don't know. I mean, the Indians have, of course, these vast ages called yugas, right? And the first age is the golden age, where there are no swords. It's all plowshares, right? And everybody is one. And everything is dharmic. They say dharma stands on 4 legs. The dharma being the righteousness, the way you do things correct, the way of the universe, right? The universal law. And then you get into, the silver age, where dharma's standing on 3 legs. And things are a little shaky there. We are in what's called the Kali Yuga, where dharma is standing on 1 leg. There's not a whole lot of it around. There's a lot of swords and a lot of conflict and there's war all the time. There's always war on the planet right now. Always. And presumably the great hope is that this cycles back into another golden age.
Yeah.
That the spiritual movement that has been so underground for so many years now. Spiritual, not religious.
Right. Well, I guess my question to him about everyone believing in Jesus, when I say that, I think we're doing a different thing. I'm talking about we all go to church, we all believe that we're this denomination, and
right.
We agree with baptism is done this way.
Whereas in India, they have plenty of churches.
Yeah.
In India, and you go in, and there's Mother Mary wearing her sari with her garland. They are perfectly happy to have Jesus as another incarnation, because they recognize that when consciousness incarnates and comes to Earth that way to do something for mankind, that it's an honorable thing, and they totally are fine with Jesus.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like the inclusion. Yeah. Speaking of mankind, my wonderful sweet gal, said you should ask her about being a woman. That is very interested in feminism and women's empowerment and all that stuff. And here you are, kind of at 1969, interesting time for feminism. And then you went to India, and the story you told about kissing Maharaji and talking his head. So, what was it like? How was it different maybe for you than the record if you just did the podcast? Only
Before or after Maharaji Marathon.
yeah, exactly.
You know, the interesting thing was that we were taken in by Maharaji's Indian devotees. We were treated like family. I mean, I never felt so safe anywhere in my life, and this is in a country far, far away, you know, from everything we knew. The problem we had was when we returned to the West, people said, did you have culture shock going to India? And no, I felt totally at home in India. Totally at home. When we came back to the West and we're going, how do we do this?
Yeah.
That's when it became, you know, difficult. But being a woman there, other than the fact, this is a very funny story actually. I mean, we tried our best to fit in. We didn't look like the hippies in the movies they had there. You know, we weren't wearing jeans or short shorts. We were wearing saris or long, you know, you were covered. You know, you kept yourself covered and appropriate.
Right, you weren't covered with
No, we weren't exactly. No, we were trying to be appropriate.
Yeah.
And when you live there for a year, you want to be wearing Indian clothes because they wash a lot easier. And if you're washing it in the river or giving it to, you know, you want it to be easy.
Yeah.
So, oh God, now I heard.
You're talking about being a woman, culture shock.
Right, and
you weren't like a hippie.
yeah, I was going somewhere with it, and I lost where I was going.
You said it was a funny story, but we were
That's fucking.
Damn, this happens, doesn't it?
it happens to
That's
everybody.
Yeah.
fucking.
It's like,
Oh
But we're talking about being a woman
that is
wasn't different for
fucking
you than it was for
insane.
And that took you to when you went back to America for last
Right.
you had a culture shock. You said, no, I
oh, I know what it was. Okay, so we left India, all right, and we left with Ram Dass when he left. And so there were 7 of us in the plane. There was Ram Dass and me and Raghu and Mirabai and Krishna and Radha and Mohan. And all of us flew out together. Our first stop was in Italy, and we all ran out to eat pasta. It was like, and then we were in London. And
you stayed on the plane. They don't have good food in London, that's what I'm saying. No, I'm kidding.
So we're in London, and we're standing on a street corner, and it's the time when hot pants are in fashion. These short, neon satin hot pants.
Yeah.
And we're standing on the corner. All of our jaws are like hanging open.
Yeah.
Because we hadn't seen above a woman's ankle,
Yeah.
you know, in over a year. And here they are like, holy, what are you doing there?
Yeah.
Why are they doing
Yeah.
So that's
very funny. But so there's this other side of guys that probably. But it didn't seem to be an issue for you.
Maharaji loves the women.
Right.
I mean,
What it says, one woman is worth 100 gurus.
yeah, 100 yogis.
100 yogis.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I like that.
Right.
That's unique. It's 1970.
Right.
So that is
And he just, I mean, being a woman was really wonderful. Totally wonderful. I mean, he would call me into the room, and sometimes pull me up on the tucket and just give me a big hug with the blanket. Completely, I can't even describe it.
Was it easier for him to be affectionate with the women, or was he?
It was very unusual. I mean, it was just, to even touch a woman.
Yeah. But what about a fella? Was he a fella?
I don't remember.
So
Yeah.
that's still normal now. When we're all being around us, I think it's probably men and women who
Yeah, right.
and that brings me to my next kind of question. That doesn't mean there's also homosexuality or whatever. And Rhonda, I didn't know that he is out of doing Rhonda.
Right.
That he's bisexual. I don't know.
Yeah.
Does he consider himself gay or it doesn't matter?
Doesn't matter. Bisexual.
So he's bisexual. And how would Maharaji with that? A non-issue?
Non-issue.
That's crazy. A lot of women.
Right, totally non-issue.
Here's a guy loving, like a piano, yeah, he's turning off the shower, I believe you, right? He hugs the window, I believe you. And there's a gay man. Not even, if you said he loved the lesbians, alright, okay, and he said, here I am. When he loves gay men, people typically have more about them. I don't know why.
Because he's not looking at any of that stuff. That's all personality. That's all package.
Yeah.
It's not soul.
It's the box.
It's the box. It's not the essence.
Yeah.
And he's only interested in the essence.
Yeah.
You know? It's like, that's... What difference does the rest of it make?
Yeah.
You know? It's only the priests that come along and say, let's have rules.
Yeah.
So you can pay me to be your intermediary.
Yeah.
You know, it's...
Does everything have like the introduction of pure control?
Okay, with the... I mean, and I don't mean just priests, you know...
I understand all the...
I mean, in Hinduism is the same thing. Very patriarchal, very, you know, segmented, you know, the caste system, all of that. So, keep it in your place, pay the priest to do your puja for you, you know.
You say there is no place.
What?
There are no places, right?
Yeah.
That even helps me understand. I don't know the story. I love remembering this for before Buddhism. But I remember I was on a walk, and it was kind of, I guess you could call it a walk of meditation. I was really deliberately trying to be present on the walk, so not thinking about where I'm going or and then I lived in LA, and I passed a burlesque place, and I looked in the window right as a woman was
Right.
Right as I saw a naked woman.
Right.
And I was like, oh man, at one point my body was rush, and now I'm in my body, and I'm not in my soul anymore. And nothing was just like, you're moving around, because this is Rhode Island, and this is Vermont, and the arms coming down all here, and I didn't stop being totally attractive.
Right.
Or unattractive.
Absolutely.
I think that's all the package. That's my body guard.
Right.
So my essence are the pictures of Campbell talks about associating with the light on the bulb.
Oh.
He's like, you're not the bulb, and
Right.
when the light goes off, where you go, the bulb is broken, and there's whatever.
Yeah, we have to, I mean, first of all, I mean, we're all getting older, the guy, you know, so, I mean, it's like, obviously, we can't be that attached to this package.
Yeah.
This package is going to disintegrate, and I'm doing a pretty good job, you know, as it is.
Sure.
But having been with Maharaji, I understand and I believe that consciousness goes beyond the body. And that's a huge thing. I mean, you had to believe it with him because it was so obvious.
Feeling? Now we're at the feeling. You felt it.
Well, you felt it, and also, I mean, you knew that, you know, he turned up in two places at the same time. I mean, what does that do to time and space continuum? You know, it's like the body is not the ruler here. You know, it's not dependent on the body.
So that goes back to the negative breath. So I know lucid humor. I like it. I'm not excellent at it, but it happens. It's happened my whole life. I love it. It's very fun. When you're in a dream, it's not that much to levitate and happen, like an apple, disappear or whatever. That's the place. But I learned that if you want someone to appear, you can do this together.
Right. You're right.
Find the door, and then come down the other side of the door. So yeah, you gotta do one.
All right.
But so I always like to manipulate that reality, and that's not considered at all for me. And stuff to say, I'm just like, that's other rules that I dream of this so that
Right, it's just like I was talking to a girl last night, actually, who's young, here by herself, and she had a psychotic breakthrough and was put in the hospital and told she was schizophrenic and wanted to put her on drugs, but she had a real spiritual experience before that happened. And there are all these medical people telling that you broke from reality. We have to take you back to reality.
And we're like, right, come back to reality.
Which one? Right, that's like they only believe there's one. Which is the one that you feel with your senses. You can't taste it and touch it, or examine it or quantify it or do a scientific experiment on it. It doesn't exist. Once you get beyond the senses into the quote extrasensory world, it's totally real.
How do you get in touch with that?
I sort of more or less stopped trying to do that and started trying to just do the Dalai Lama's thing of my religion is kindness. I mean, Maharaji told me that he would come to my house and I would feed him double roti, which is toast. Obviously, he's not going to show up. Yeah, right.
I went to an Indian restaurant and
double roti.
He got me warm bread.
Right.
That would be upset.
I mean, I know he's not going to show up, wearing his blanket. I have to explain that every person who comes to my house is Maharaji. And that whatever I can feed them with, whether it's a plain word or a piece of toast,
right.
It's what I'm interested in doing. And it's sort of like, let me live my life doing as little harm as possible.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to, I'll come back anytime you're back. I'm not trying to become you. I'm only able to put in something. Talking about, if you want to become one person, they never even entered our movie.
Right.
It wasn't like it's just a movie. It was just a devotee.
Well, that's the difference between that's bhakti yoga.
That's bhakti yoga. So not romantic. It's quickly out on your father drinks. I mean, we're different cuts with the bhaktis and we tend to use the methodology. But the Buddhists don't have, they don't believe in God. Okay, and their God is emptiness. It's a full emptiness, but it's called emptiness. We sort of, fill it up with flowers and stems and ocean and more stuff, or like, fun things. So we're the floppy boxes. And they're not going to get enlightened, but we'll be happy.
You can have enlightenment. Well, he said, it was a quote, I had a good one here. It's enlightenment is the final that's the last. Everything's a disappointment, and then you can enlightenment, and then you stop searching. That's good, I'm glad. That's so interesting.
Yeah. Okay, so Ron got the type of stuff, things don't touch money. Yeah. So he turned over his money, actually to Roger's brother, who was the purse holder. Yeah. And so he had no cash, no money on him. And he was also, Maharaj kept calling him Mandarin. In charge of us Westerners, so to speak. But nobody listened to him. What did we care? I mean, there's Maharaj. Whoa. Yeah. And so he was just getting angrier and angrier and angrier and feeling weird.
He found the guy.
He was told not to say anything about him. All of a sudden, all his revenues are there because of him.
Yeah.
So he's like, yeah, and he's in turmoil about, he thinks we're taking up the Indians' time with Maharaji, that we're somehow in the way. I mean, he's got all these critical.
Right. Well, he saw it before. All you guys, white people show up, and it is different. It has to be different. It's like, it used to be quieter here.
Right.
It changed everything.
Right. So, anyway, obviously, he may have been called the commander-in-chief, but we knew who the commander-in-chief was. You know?
Yeah.
So anyway, this one day, we all leave to go to Kenshin because we're staying at a hotel in Morningtop. And the first man went, and he had no money. He was either meditating in his room or doing something. He sort of missed the boat, so to speak. And he wound up walking to Kenshin, which is a good hike. Really good hike, and he's just getting madder and madder as he went. And he came in as we're all sitting in front of Maharaji eating. We were sitting here eating food. Maharaji sitting on the stucket over there, and Ram Dass comes in.
I like to hear this man over there, like it was sweating.
Yeah, this is outside actually.
Oh, is it? Oh, wow!
Okay.
No, I haven't changed my image.
This is happening outside, and. He comes in and Tukaram offers him a plate of food, and he takes the plate of food and throws it at Tukaram.
We drive until they not acceptable.
Not acceptable. It's sacred. I mean, it's like, there's a lot of people, and a lot of them are hungry.
Yeah.
Maharaji built his temples in poor areas, and the people sometimes depend on that prasad for their meal. Yeah. I mean, it's a big deal, So he flings the food, and Maharaj is going, what's the matter? What's the matter? And Ram Dass is telling him, I'm so angry.
Yeah.
And so Maharaj he gets a good karate, especially karates, you take this, your anger will go away, it's like a little fried food type of thing. It's
that really helps.
Yeah, right. Get something in them.
Yeah. There's actually a lot of them.
Yeah, right, exactly. And he's Ramesh is saying to Maharaj, what can we do for Ram Dass? Things are not changing for 40 years.
Yeah.
It was just an extraordinary day. And then finally Maharaj, I had worked with him for a while on this. And then said, you have to love everyone. You have to love everyone. And Ram Dass is going, I can't. Maharaj is going, you have to love everyone.
Right.
And I don't know.
He say, forgive me, sure,
yeah.
I take you there, but I'm telling you, he's told the story, love everyone and tell the truth, in that same moment.
It may have been that.
He's like, the truth is I don't love everybody.
Right.
A little paradox, right? I'm very angry right now.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But then somebody had a whole bunch of cut up apples, and Ram Dass took the apple slices and went around and gave everybody a slice of apple in love, in a really loving space. So it all shifted for him. That anger did come into a space where he was able to look at each one of us and give us an apple slice, and it was all done love. So it was a very powerful darshan.
So he's Ram Dass. So he's got a lesson on overcoming his anger and putting his anger, giving it space.
Right.
And then the next. Not the next day.
Right then. Yeah.
But when did he then see Maharaji in his temper?
That's a different story. Yeah. That was after that. Yeah. And here, Maharaj is telling you, don't be angry, don't be angry. You give up your anger a little bit every day. I'll help you.
Yeah.
And then sometime later, not the same day, we were sent to the back of the ashram usually after we had our morning darshan with Maharaji. When we have our lunch, we were sent to the back to take rest. It was a powerful time to be a good time to nap. But Ram Dass and Muldas were up on the second story of this building. And from there you can see down into the front part of the ashram. And they're up there and they hear Maharaji screaming at somebody. I mean, reading him the riot act. And I mean, it turned out that not only had this Indian who was a worker at the ashram let all these potatoes rot, but he had also been selling some off to the side. And it was tuna hummus.
And we're back to the Indian thing with
food. Okay, all that. So anyway, Maharaji is kicking him out of the ashram, telling him he can never come back. And he
was like being not right.
I mean, being angry. Angry. Not mean.
Right.
I never ever saw him be
right
at all.
But not being polite.
Or not being, no,
hey, I know you did that.
No, this is like, and Maharaji had a foul mouth.
Yeah.
And heaven knows what he was calling it.
He had the 30th pound in all the 3 worlds.
Right. He used to hang when he was traveling around.
I talked about how, like I was surprised that that's more Westernly and better. So it's great when I was criminal and stuff, and like, not only did that sound about right, you laugh and believe it. Yeah.
Absolutely. He's yelling and screaming and all that very self-righteously. Marching which nobody did when we were sent away to rest. And he escorts this guy, to the gate. And I don't know if it wasn't here, but he said a few years afterwards, this guy would follow him around and ask him for money. But meanwhile, he's upset. He had gotten so angry after telling him not to be angry.
Yeah, you caught it.
It's like, that's like, and Maharaji said Dada out of the back after he was back and said, Maharaji, did you see Maharaji get angry? And Maharaji said, yes, I did. Very, Anyway, afterwards, we all go back down for our afternoon darshan. And Maharaji was sweet, playful, delightful as ever. And during the course of it, somebody asked him, and he looked at them and said, you just never throw anyone out of your heart. And for Mohan, it was interesting that Mohan has had a lot of people and he saw I think it was just devastating to him to see it. And then to see how Mohan walked into the he wasn't leaving. Mohan said, if I had been there was no anger. Right.
And then I my own mother was something else. We're going to their houses and their lives. I love the moment when that talks to you. They did, right. Dad's son, and we put that aside, right? It's kind of like the other thing is like you said, it's like competitive.
Did you watch Jai tell the story of the Ramayana yesterday?
No.
Oh, you missed that. There's an artifact. And the big villain of Ramayana, right, and at the very end, spoiler alert, they killed with one arrow. And after he's done, Ravana is going, praising my Lord, he's like, put that incarnation, so because you throw a bunch of words, so
and some films that you can find that afterwards because you've been around the block, have so many lifetimes, and it's easy to get. So it's not the same as
right.
It's about having done it all. That's the feeling. So you have to do whatever you
heart, exactly. Fight you infected, whatever it is, but you don't really want to.
I don't know why this is there's something so beautiful about black evidence that most of us notice that I think that's important for me, especially right now, to not pretend like there isn't a gorgeous moment.
Yeah.
And there's something about that. I don't know why that's there's something about
Well, I never saw my not bad, no. I mean, no. No, not at all. The things that we found is that each person's truth is their own truth. There is not one truth. You know, we're not all there's many ways to wrong. You know, I may be a bhakti yogi, you may be a jnani yogi. It's like, you know, you can do practice, I've done all sorts of different practices. I've certificated wherever you find it, it's the same thing.
And I'm so lovely that a lot of other people's things find this, and then they're not truthful. I find different ways. But what about sentient animals? And the person's answer was before, so this is better. The blonde woman who's on the show, I'm not sure.
Verify.
She said that you see a system of slaughter, change that when it's painful to do. I didn't see it, I see where a clock snail was put in front. It's just like shivered and then she went back and was like, look, I've heard you suffering of animals is a big thing, and that's just going to kind of spread the word about it's different. There's something about them going around and watching the blood so much, so, you know,
but it's part of what we learn. I mean, I was a vegetarian for 30 years, and I was in constant digestive distress because I'm very lactose intolerant, and so I couldn't eat dairy, and I couldn't eat soy because it's very related to dairy molecularly. Yeah. And so I couldn't eat beans, and I couldn't eat dairy. I couldn't be a vegetarian anymore. I wasn't getting any protein. And when I was pregnant with Noah, as a matter of fact, I started dreaming about meat. And I finally went out and had a filet mignon one day, and it felt so right in my body that I ate red meat during the rest of the time I was pregnant and nursing.
Yeah.
As soon as I stopped nursing, I didn't eat red meat anymore. But but I realized that I couldn't be a vegetarian.
Yeah.
That I had to have fish and I had to have chicken. And that's the way my body.
Eventually they're
My truth, right.
There's something, I guess it's unfamiliar to me. When I contact the truth about you find it, there's leeway, the truth, the light, I got it, you know, I will now force it on you. And we have wars, and we still have wars.
We still have them.
We have attacks and all this sort of stuff. And there's something...
My way's better than your way. My God's better than yours. Yeah, right.
There's something gorgeous about
And it's so interesting because the heart of every religion has its own mystic core. You know, there are mystic Christians. You know, you've got St. John of the Cross. You've got, you know, what's her name? Little Teresa. Little Teresa. Not Mother Teresa, but the little flower. And all these wonderful mystic Christians that wrote beautiful, you know, things about that state of oneness.
Yeah.
Which is what the mystics go for. So let's get into that place of oneness. Right. And that place, the Sufis in the Muslim tradition, the Sufis do it through dance, through spinning, through their zikr, through their practices. You know, the Jews do it through the Kabbalistic stuff. Okay.
No, I'm sorry. It's so weird. I was just like, I wonder how the battery's doing. I was blinking that it's low. We're doing great.
Okay.
So if it goes out, we have that one.
No, it's just every religion, the heart of every religion is that same mystic core.
Yeah.
So in fact, there is that one light, but it comes out in different clothes. You know.
Hard to people to do as you want. True love, true man, woman, black, white. I actually think that's one of the things some people get all bent out about the transgender thing. It's like we want our true false. We want our man, woman. We want our like wrong. We want our gay, unsaved, we do stuff. We do heaven, hell. And then like, that's why I think spiritual music always sounds like guitar, all this kind of, you hear Krishna playing all these nights, and it's like sometimes the rhythm is in the other room, or whatever.
And then there's Jesus on the main one.
Yeah, exactly. Now we're at 4-4. Yeah, exactly. But like we want that kind of, and that's it's kind of like,
That's how it is. Yeah.
Love you.
Love everyone.
Goodbye.
Yeah.
And we should. And it's wonderful. And this was wonderful. Thank you so much for taking the time.
It was delightful.
You okay?
I feel fine. Oh, I feel good.
Now we're going to go to back to podcast.
All right. Podcast to podcast.
Yeah, and then I'm doing another.
Who are you doing it?
His name is Mike. It's called. He's hear me there. I'm not playing him right now. His business card's over there. I don't know. I'll tweet it.
Exactly.
But thank you so much.
No, this is delightful.
It's wonderful to see you not lose your fervor to say these things. I know you've said a lot of them before.
It's okay. I mean, you know, it all just brings me back.
Yeah.
It's delightful.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like every time I read through the book, and heaven knows I read the manuscript a gazillion times, I would always cry at some point. Different point along the way. Something would suddenly, I'd hear it differently, or something would happen, and I would feel it.
One tree hill. It's a TV show. We always have to just say, keep it crispy. It's just how we end the episode. But you say, so
Keep it crispy.
you keep it crispy. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So crispy, so crispy.
friends and like looking at more people that I record, so I feel like they're there's like the same numbers when I look at disgusting things, you know, like am I attracted to the same number? No, the same most guys I have very
Well, we talked about this on the podcast all the time. Is the number of options actually doesn't make us any happier. So you probably are looking. 16. Imagine to just go like, well, there's 6 guys that I like.
right.
You know what I mean?
Well, you know, I
in
would
high
say,
school for me it was like 0.02.
guys, yeah.